installed our SSD into our laptop through the caddy, and I've turned on my laptop here. What we can see here is that we can go to disk management. Okay, so in search, simply write disk management and you'll get the option create and format hard disk partitions. Click on that. Now in this you will see that I have my disk 0, that is my old SSD that I already had in place of a hard drive in my laptop, and I have a disk 1 that I have just installed in my laptop right now. So this one right here, I can see that it is 111 GBs. I had a 128 GB SSD installed, and now even if they say 128 or anything like that, they're usually not as big. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a speed test on this SSD that I've just installed. So Crystal Lismar right here, and this is my drive F, and there we go. Let's see what results we get out of our SSD, and then we'll see the results from our hard drive. Here's the thing about hard drives and an SSD. In case of a hard drive, most of the hard drives that are out there are either 7200 RPM hard drives or 5400 RPM hard drive. The results that you can see online and that you'll most probably be getting inside of your PC is going to be somewhere around 20 MBs per second up till 30 MBs per second. So that will be the range of the speed of that hard drive for the read and write. So you might be getting, and then the write speeds for most of these hard drives are also less than their read speeds. So in some cases you'll be getting a read speed of 30 MBs per second, and the write speed is only going to be 8 or 10 MBs per second, and things like that. Now in case of 7400 RPM, 7200 RPM hard drives, these are those hard drives that are a bit faster as compared to your regular hard drive. These are mostly in the gaming laptops and in some really high-end laptops. Now even in case of these hard drives, the maximum speed that you'll be getting would be somewhere around 50 to 60 or up till let's say 100 MBs per second. Now in most common cases, you're going to be having a 5400 RPM hard drive in your laptop. So that would be giving you somewhere around 20 to 30 MBs per second of read and write speed. Compare that to an SSD. Now I just showed you when I ran this test. Let's let this test finish. In most cases, some of the cheapest SSDs out there, I'm going to link a few SSDs down in the description below. You can order these from AliExpress and from Amazon and other places like that. Now these are some of the companies that are offering really great SSDs and reliable SSDs as well at a really reasonable price. So you can get these SSDs like for around $60, a 500 GB or 480 GB SSD for around $60, and this SSD will be more reliable than your other hard drive that you have currently in your system. Because in case of an SSD, it does not have any moving components. In case of a hard drive, there are disks or platters that are continuously revolving inside of the hard drive enclosure. In case of SSD, there is nothing like that. SSD is just like a big USB that you put into your system. SSDs come in two types. Now in my case, I did not have an M2 slot in my laptop. The M2 SSDs and PCIe SSDs, they're even more faster than the ones, these SATA ones. These SATA ones are currently limited to only 6 gigabits per second. That is, they can reach a maximum speed of 500 to around 600 MBs per second for read and write speed. In case of the M2 SSDs or PCIe SSDs, for example, the Samsung 970 EVO and Pro, they go up to 3200 or 3300 MBs per second for their read and write speed. So those are some extreme cases of SSDs. In our case, if in your case, for instance, if you have a hard drive in your laptop, that will only be giving you, let's say, a maximum of 50 MBs per second of read and write speed. That is also really not as common that you'll have a hard drive that is giving you this good a speed. What you can do is that you can simply download Crystal Disk Mark. This is a free software. Just run it on either one of your drive that you have in your laptop, and you'll see that what is the read and write speed that you are currently getting. Now in most cases, what you can see is that when you are working and you feel like your computer is lagging a bit or is getting hang, you can simply press Ctrl Shift and Escape, and this shortcut will bring up the task manager. In the task manager, you can go to the performance tab in details, and then into the performance tab you'll see your disks right there. In most cases you'll see that your disk will be running at 100%, which means that your disk is the bottleneck for your PC, because it isn't providing the data fast enough to your processor so that is why your system is really getting slow. Now if you have a faster hard drive, or in this case you replace your hard drive with an SSD, then your laptop gets really fast and it gets really responsive and really snappy. And the real difference that you're going to note is in file loading times. So when you open your drives, you're going to see that your files are going to load really quick. When you turn on your laptop, you're going to feel the difference. You're actually going to feel a lot of difference, and when you're going to turn on your laptop and stuff like that, your laptop is not going to lag after you have installed an SSD, and the difference is definitely going to be there. You're definitely going to feel the difference after you have replaced your hard drive with an SSD. In case of your laptop, let's say it has a 50 MB read and write hard drive. Now once you replace it with an SSD that has, let's say, 500 MBs per second of read and 500 MBs per second of write speeds. Now these are some of the lower figures in case of our SSDs, one of the cheapest SSD, for example the King Diane S280, that is one of the cheapest SSDs out there. They will give you figures like this, and that shows that your SSD is 10 times as quicker as your hard drive. So if your hard drive is running as 50, your SSD is running at 500 MBs per second of read and write speed. So just think about it, like simple basic mathematics. Your PC is going to run a lot faster once you replace the hard drive with an SSD. Again, the options for you to replace your hard drive with an SSD, one of the options is to simply take out the old hard drive from your computer, clone that whole data onto an SSD, and that can also be done at any shop. You can take it to any computer store and they'll do it for you for free if you buy an SSD from them. They'll clone the whole data from your hard drive onto your SSD, and once you install that SSD into your hard drive slot for your laptop or for your PC, the PC won't notice any difference and it will run like normal. Or the second thing that you can do is what we did here today, was that most of the times the CD-ROM, you're never gonna really use the CD-ROM in these days, because all of the softwares are either on USBs or on the internet, so you don't need your CD-ROM. Just take out your CD-ROM, get a caddy for your CD-ROM, put the SSD into the caddy and install it into your laptop. And in this case, what will happen is that your hard drive will already be installed in your laptop, and now you have a second SSD installed into your PC, so that is extra storage for you, extra faster storage for you. And then what you can do is you can keep your data on your hard drive that you don't really need or use as frequently, for example your movies, and you can put your operating systems onto your SSD. There are a lot of videos online on YouTube on how to do this. You can check out those videos on how to migrate your operating system onto a separate drive and stuff like that. Now here our test ran, and we can see that we are getting a read speed of 531.35 MBs per second and a write speed of 440 MBs per second. So this right here shows you that in case of this SSD that I have installed, the Hike C100 128 GB, I think so it was, and this is the read and the write speed that I'm getting after I've installed the SSD into my PC. So if you're still thinking, and if you're still in that phase of your mind that whether you should install an SSD and whether you're going to feel the difference or not, trust me on this one. Go and get yourself an SSD, and I can assure you that you're going to feel the difference. You're going to feel your laptop getting more snappier. You're going to feel that your laptop won't lag as much, it won't get hanged as much, and most of all, when you're turning on your laptop, you're going to notice that speed difference. Like in my case, when I installed this SSD, at first my laptop used to take around a minute or so to turn on, but after the SSD it would turn on within 20 seconds, and that was with an SSD that was with the SATA SSD that we just put into our laptop. In case of those M2 and PCIe SSDs, those numbers go even more crazier. For example, your laptop might turn on in around 12 seconds or 10 seconds or 14 seconds. Trust me on this one. Go and get yourself an SSD and install it into your PC, or migrate your operating system onto it, or do that other part, and you're going to thank me later. And thank you everyone for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the bell notification so that you don't miss any further updates. Now if you have any questions related to this video that I just made and related to an SSD or installation, just leave them down in the comments below. If I have the answers to them, I will answer to them, and I'll try to answer to as many questions as possible. Thank you and see you next time. Bye bye.